a disclaimer. If you hear the air conditioner, yeah, it's running. It's hot in Atlanta, so I apologize for that because we don't have a studio. This is just an upstairs converted room that I'm shooting all these episodes in. And if you are a regular viewer of this channel, you know that I really enjoy listening to Tom Petty radio, and particularly when I'm driving around town here in Atlanta, I'll turn it on, and I really like his Buried Treasure show because what he does is he pulls up songs and records from his personal collection. And what I've discovered is that his tastes are almost identical to mine. So anyway, a couple of days ago, I was driving around and I turned on Tom Petty radio and we got Buried Treasure, and I heard a song, and it instantly transported me back to when I was a teenager, and it did it with just 2 words. Here are those 2 words. So like I said, when I heard those 2 words, I was instantly transported back to when I was 13, 14 years old. So can you guess from those 2 words who the group is that we're going to be talking about this episode? Well, I don't want to keep you in too much more suspense. Let's go ahead, because I know everybody's a wild thing. Let's drop the needle. About 65 miles out of London is a little town called Andover, and 2 young teenage friends decide to start a band, and it's Reg Presley, who plays guitar, and Ronnie Bond, who is the drummer. But with just vocals, guitar, and drums, obviously they need more musicians. So in 1964, they fleshed the band out with 2 more musicians. They hire Pete Staples on bass and Chris Britton on guitar. But like all young bands, they need a name. So they call themselves the Troglodytes, which basically means people that live in caves. Now at this time, when this young band was forming, there was another band in England that was beginning to catch on, and they were called the Kinks. And their manager was a guy named Larry Page. And Larry decided that, hey, this new young band had some opportunity. So he thought, let's record them. But the first thing he said was, you know what, you got to change your name. Troglodytes, get out of here. We're going to call you the Troggs. Their first single is released in 1966. It's called Lost Girl. And that and the B-side, or The Yellow in Me, both were written by Reg Presley. The single did not chart in the UK or anywhere else in the world except for Sweden for some reason. But their fortunes dramatically changed with their next record, and it wasn't even written by Reg Presley. And the Troggs weren't the first group to record it. It was written by Chip Taylor, and the band that recorded it, which we've all forgotten, was called the Wild Ones. And the song, which we've never forgotten, was called Wild Thing. The recording by the Wild Ones flopped, but Larry Page said to Reg Presley and the Troggs, you guys need to record this. This is a great song, and the way you guys sing and play, you can make this a hit. Boy, was he right. The song just oozes sexuality. And of course, it becomes a worldwide hit. This is a very simple song. It's only 3 chords. So every garage band had to learn it. And my band, The Darkness, yeah, we did. And it was always a great crowd pleaser. And I remember I'd actually put down my guitar and start beating on tambourine along with the song, and the crowd would go nuts. And one night I was beating on the tambourine so hard that all of a sudden, it just shatters. The crowd loved it. But of course, I had to go buy another tambourine. Now, when we played it with the chords of A, D, and E. And the lyrics are dead simple. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing. Wild thing, I think I love you. But I want to know for sure. Come on and hold me tight. Oh, I love you. And then, what's very weird, instead of having a searing guitar solo, what do we get but an octarina? Kind of like a little recorder flute playing the solo. Who would have thought of that? Nonetheless, the song becomes a big hit. Based on the success of Wild Thing, you would have thought the Troggs would have been a big success in the US, but you'd be wrong, because they didn't even tour in the US until 1968. And by that time, Wild Thing was a memory of the past. This was a huge mistake for the band. But they released an album which contained Wild Thing. It was released in 1966. It's called From Nowhere in the UK, and of course rebranded as Wild Thing in the US. Here's the track listing from the US release. It's a little different than the UK in that the US album contains their second hit, which was A Girl Like You. That single, A Girl Like You, was both a hit in the UK and the US. Then in September of 1966, they released a song, which we started the episode with, which starts with just those two words. Oh, no! And it is called I Can't Control Myself. And it is blatantly sexual. And as such, it got banned in the US, it got banned from the BBC in the UK, it got banned in Australia, but you know what, of course, when something gets banned, it just makes it a hit. But check out these lyrics. You get the, oh no, I can't stand still 'cause you got me going. And then what's interesting is for the next line, Reg Presley is just going ba 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 ba, and the reason for that is because he wanted to have horns playing that line, but they didn't have the money for horns, so it turns out it's just Reg going ba 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 ba. Then the lyrics get even weirder with your slacks are low and your hips are showing. And then again, the ba 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 ba. I thank you, girl, for standing there with your low-cut slacks and your long black hair. I want you going. I want no one else, because when I'm with you, I can't control myself. And that is just the start. Later on in the song, Reg goes on. I got this feeling that's inside of me. It makes me think how things used to be. It makes me feel all right. And when I'm with you at night, we love. And we love. Ba 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 ba. Yeah, well, I guess you can see why it got banned. But even though it was banned in the UK, it reaches number 2. But in the US, I don't know, maybe we didn't get it. It only got to 43. For their next song, the Troggs decide to go back to the songwriting of Chip Taylor. After all, he did Wild Thing. So, gotta be a hit. But this next song is a change of direction. It's a ballad, and it's called Any Way That You Want Me. The Troggs song reached number 4 in the UK. But you know, in the US, it doesn't even chart. And their next single doesn't do any better. It's called Give It To Me. It's a failure. But the song does get some traction. In 1966, it's featured in one of my favorite movies of the time, because it really encapsulates what the swinging 60s was all about. And the film is Blow Up. Go check that out. They followed it with 2 singles, one that just tanked, Night of the Long Grass, and then the other one, which became a worldwide hit. In fact, probably their biggest hit. But you know, to me, it doesn't even sound anything like the Troggs. And that song is Love Is All Around. Love Is All Around soars into the top 10, and then it spends 16 weeks on the charts. They follow this up with another single called Hi Hi Hazel, but it doesn't go anywhere. Their popularity wanes. And so basically at this point, they're kind of done. But they soldier on. They record a version of the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations. It went nowhere. Then they got together with REM and recorded an album called Athens Andover. But it wasn't successful either. Of the original members, Ronnie Bond died in November of 1992. Reg Presley died in February 2013. Bassist Pete Lucas died in 2023. The only member of the band still active is Chris Britton. He remains from the original lineup. Now, are you ready to hear Oh No and the whole song? All right, here comes Spotify. Now, as usual, I've created a Spotify playlist where you can listen to some of the songs that I've talked about in this episode. And here's the link, and I'll also put it in the comments below. So this episode was a musical journey inspired by hearing Tom Petty play just 2 words on his Buried Treasure show. Oh no. And the Troggs gave us a lot of great music. No one can ever forget Wild Thing. And then there's Love Is All Around, which, like I said, didn't sound like the Troggs. And then there's the Oh No, I Can't Control Myself. They were the prototype garage band. If you picked up a guitar in the 60s, you had to learn this music. So thanks, Reg Presley and the rest of the Troggs. That was a great memory, and thanks to Tom Petty for pulling that out of the vaults. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Until next time, keep it rockin'. If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.